We've all seen those restocking videos. Entertaining they may be, but I would hope that many of us can now watch and understand that it's probably not what their house actually looks like on a day-to-day basis. Most of us don't have millions of beautiful matching containers to unpack all of our single-use wipes and various tins of lip gloss. They are entertaining though, and when it comes to video content, engagement is king. Which is why today I would like to look at something that is often overlooked when it comes to overconsumption. Books. Hi, and welcome to my channel, and for those returning viewers, welcome back. Book hauls and Amazon unboxings can be just as popular as Shein and Temu hauls. Honestly, I'd never considered this before until I really started to look into it. And yeah, they're pretty full on. These hauls then beg the question, how many of these books is the individual actually reading? Books aren't like fast fashion though, so it's probably not a big deal, right? Well, according to journalist Macy Berenson, who published an article in December of 2023, the impact of these book hauls might be doing more harm than good. Book hauls might be entertaining. However, the sheer volume of books bought on these videos often leads to a significant environmental concern. Many of these books end up unread and eventually discarded. According to the Words Rated, over 160,000 truckloads of unread books are wasted annually in the US, contributing to a massive environmental impact. Just a side note here from future me, I actually went back and checked the referenced article and the actual number said 16,000, not 160,000. Still a terrible statistic, but I think it's very important to make sure that the information was being passed on correctly. I did try to leave a comment to let the author know, but the website doesn't actually allow that, which is a little bit unfortunate. The production of these books requires a staggering 10 million trees each year. Paper constitutes a significant portion of landfill waste, accounting for about 26% globally. This isn't helped by the fact that the publishing industry often overprints books, leading to a surplus. Whilst printing on demand would be more sustainable, traditional practices persist. Retailers often struggle to sell all of the copies, resulting in unsold books. Unsold books are frequently disposed of, either by being sent to landfill or by being pulped, which means to be recycled back into paper pulp. All of this is to say nothing about the cost of these book hauls. I'm an Aussie, born and bred, and physical books in Australia can be quite pricey even if they've been out for a while. Shein hauls can be popular due to the fact that the materials are very cheap and easily accessible. People can buy multiple outfits without spending a lot of money. But books don't usually work the same way unless they're bought second-hand or third-hand. We have something in our neighbourhood city called the Lifeline Expo, which goes for about 3 days, 3 times a year. All proceeds go to keeping local crisis support services running. It's always extremely popular and packed with people. At this expo, you can find books of any genre, even recent releases, for just a couple of dollars. Needless to say, I am not allowed into these expos without direct supervision. I found a massive chunk of my cookbook collection here, as well as several missing Goosebumps and Animorph books that I had my eye on. Let's use this as an example. Last year, I bought this gorgeous cookbook from the expo for about $4. So how much would it be if I bought it brand new? Well, about $30. I found a few cheaper options from eBay for around $25, but of course neither of those calculate in the shipping and postage costs. Now, before we do this next segment, I want to preference this with a warning. This is not to cast hate on any of these creators. For many of them on YouTube, reviewing and reading these books is content for their full-time job. And in that sense, the books are not going to waste. For this particular video, Emily purchased all the books based on her viewers' recommendations. This turned out to be 21 books in total. I'm using this video in particular because this amazing woman actually put all of the links in her description, which makes the next part very easy. Now, if I were to buy each of these books for myself as paperbacks, it would cost me a total of $625.88. And this is not calculating the shipping or postage, just the cost of the books. Adding that on top would probably increase it to a rather hefty sum. Now, if I were to get these books digitally on Kindle instead, it would only cost me $252.39. This calculation only excludes one book that wasn't available on Kindle. Now, again, Emily is reviewing these books. There isn't an expectation that her audience is going to go out and buy every single one of the books that she mentions, but that doesn't change the fact that she needed to purchase them for herself first. But, of course, she has an active YouTube channel where she posts the long-form content of these reviews, so in that sense, the books do kind of pay for themselves. BookTok hauls, however, are a very different story. I found hundreds and hundreds of these book haul videos. Some had a reasonable amount of views, like this video on the top left with about 80,000, but a much larger proportion of them didn't have more than a couple of hundred views each. They aren't making a huge amount of money from these videos, if anything at all. I will admit I'm a little biased on this topic. I understand the desire to have a physical book. Growing up, my dad was of the opinion that the internet couldn't be trusted. If I had an assignment or an exam on something, he would encourage me to get a book on the topic rather than relying solely on Google. Consequently, I have quite a substantial collection of my own. I had to awkwardly explain to my partner that I wasn't being sarcastic when I mentioned I had a marine biology section in my library when we first moved in together. He still thought I was joking until we had to unpack everything. I don't know many people who feel that books are a waste of space. Not sure what to get your mum for Mother's Day? How about a book? Don't know what to get your sister who's melted her third stove? How about a cookbook? And some warning labels. People love books, but I worry that the book itself, rather than the contents, is what's slowly becoming idolized. Having hundreds of books seems to slowly be morphing into some kind of status symbol. I did notice something interesting about these haul videos. A vast majority of the book hauls, even if they weren't incredibly viral, had a positive comment section. They were rather encouraging. When compared to the restocking videos, where people seem to be more aware that the videos are blatant overconsumption. Comments like, "This is not real life. Why is there no real food in this fridge? What do you do with your leftovers? And my personal favourite." People know that this kind of content isn't realistic, and more recently, viewers are starting to call out this sort of thing as being wasteful and problematic. But so far, this hasn't really seemed to travel over to book consumption. Or so I thought until I stumbled upon this video. Here, people have started to become a little more suspicious. Now, again, this doesn't mean that she hasn't read all of the books, but there is certainly far more of a spectacle in this video. In the first shot, you have all these gorgeous covers on display, and then we move into the rainbow section where everything is meticulously color-coded, and finally onto another room with yet more books. What to do? She simply has too many books. It's supposed to be humorous, and in a way it is, but it's also very extreme. I'm not sure this is the sort of thing we should be promoting. Reading more books? Absolutely, 100%. If you love reading, then I would never discourage you to stop. But there are better, cheaper, and more environmentally friendly ways to do this than to buy the latest edition of whatever just hit the shelves. Whilst book hauls promote reading, it's crucial to consider the environmental impact as well as the impact on your own wallet. Use local resources like libraries and free online archives. If you would like your own copy, consider buying digital copies or even the dreaded audiobooks. If you would still like a hard copy or paperback, consider supporting local authors and independent bookstores, and opting for used books whenever possible. Some Facebook groups do local book swaps, which can be a great way to find new reading material without a high price tag. By making these small changes, we can contribute to a more sustainable reading culture. But what are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think it's starting to get a little out of control? Leave your comments below, and if this sort of video interests you, consider subscribing. Thanks for sticking around. Until next time.